transfer quarterback Anthony Colandrea, that's right, Anthony Colandrea, is impressing early with his off-script ability. Now, Zach, there were some Nebraska fans that thought Anthony Colandrea might not be the starter. Some opined that maybe some of the other guys in the room, TJ Lateef, maybe some others, they did bring in, I think, 2 or 3 transfers, so they have a good amount of transfers. But the thought was maybe somebody else could step up. Does not sound to be the case. Sound like that's going to be the case. Dana Holgerson is very excited. Mentioned the off-script ability of Anthony Colandrea, which when I first heard that, I just saw that quote. I thought, I don't know if I love that. I like obviously Anthony Colandrea is going to bring that, and that's good. But I don't know if I love that aspect just because I don't want the offense to be, kind of falling away. But as I heard, I went back and actually listened to it and listened to the whole press conference. Dana Holgerson was mentioning it wasn't just his off-script ability, but the entire offense's ability to really, be able to go off script, be able to work together, find different ways to be able to get open, the receivers not quitting on their routes when they're done, because unfortunately last year, that's kind of an issue they had with Dylan Raiola, who wasn't really able to extend things, wasn't really able to be off script. Receivers would just kind of, stop their routes and be done. But now this year, it sounds like they're a whole lot more encouraged to be able to go out there, do that. Dana Holgerson had some other thoughts I'll get to in a moment, but your first thought.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Raiola and the offense last year, because when I first saw the quote, I'm like, man, is this like an endorsement of Colandrea, or is this a shot at Dylan Raiola? And I don't actually think it's a shot at Dylan Raiola, but I think it is a reality. I mean, look at Dylan Raiola was sacked 27 times in I think 9 games a year ago. And he ran for both seasons that he was the starter at Nebraska. He had negative rushing yards. And that included like big runs. Like he had like a 30-yard run. I think this past season, he only had a 13-yard run. That was his long. Colandrea in 14 games this past season at UNLV, granted UNLV, he was sacked 26 times. So we're talking like a quarterback that took 3 sacks a game or more, compared to a quarterback that took less than 2 a game. And that number went down by 33% from the year before. He took 39 sacks the year before. And then you look at his rushing yards, 127 carries for 649 that last year and 10 yards per carry. His yards per carry went up nearly 3 yards per carry from the year before. And so this is my main thought with Colandrea. He progresses. And he is willing to take what is there. I thought Raiola's pocket awareness from a year ago and his hero ball tendencies from a year ago, it got worse. His bad habits got worse. His tendencies got worse. And I think the numbers and the tape show marked improvement from Colandrea. And now he hopefully has another year where he can improve. And one of the areas where this offense needed to improve was, what do you do when things like the structure collapses? How do you actually make a play and do it in a timely manner? So big question is, can it translate to the Big Ten? Now, he played UCLA, got sacked twice, but he also ran for 59 yards on 11 carries, which includes the 2 sacks. So with 2 sacks being part of his 11 carries, he averaged over 5 yards a carry. So, I mean, now UCLA was just atrocious in that first few games.
Yeah.
We're in LA. But I say that there is reason for optimism with Colandrea at quarterback. And I think a big reason why is because your biggest weakness now, I think, is actually a big strength.
Yeah. I would say as long as he doesn't rely on it too much,
right,
it can definitely become a strength, because I do think you're going to face teams, i.e., I don't remember if Nebraska faces Ohio State this season or not. I don't think they do. No, they do. Week 12. A team like Ohio State last year, we were so impressed with Damon Williams and his ability to, be off script and do different things. But then Ohio State, I mean, last year they had 2 first-round top 10 first round linebackers. So that's a little bit different. I don't think Ohio State's going to have that this year, but there are a lot of talented linebackers in this league. And so against certain teams, you might have some more trouble making that happen than you might other years. So I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying I hope it's not becoming too much of a crutch. And I don't think it is. I mean, the way Dana Holgerson made it sound, and he made it sound like this is more of just like something he brings to the table and something that he can do more of than maybe what they had before. It didn't sound like a shot at Dylan Raiola. Maybe it was, but didn't seem like it. He did compare Anthony Colandrea to Devin Dampier, who was the Utah quarterback this past season, had a good season. Jason Beck did a good job with him. He's the guy that's going to Michigan now with Bryce Underwood. One of the reasons why a lot of people are excited about Bryce Underwood, because they saw what he did with Devin Dampier. Should do a good job with Bryce Underwood this season as well. Holgerson said, quote, "I've never coached a QB like Colandrea." Zach, do you know what QBs Dana Holgerson has coached?
He's coached some good ones. He's coached
Graham Harrell, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Case Keenum, Houston. Brandon Whedon, Oklahoma State. Geno Smith, West Virginia. Will Grier, West Virginia. Clayton Tune, Houston. Look, I'm not saying Anthony Colandrea is the next Geno Smith or the next Will Grier or something like that, but to hear him say that, he's never coached a QB like Colandrea, I mean, it's only spring practice. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but those are some pretty big words when you consider who Dana Holgerson has coached in the past.
I feel like I'm being dream crusher for a minute.
Well, if you're going to crush a dream, you're crushing Dana Holgerson's dream. I'm just quoting what the man said.
No, and that's fine. What conference was he in?
The Big 12.
Yeah, he's facing big boy defenses. Like, I get the comp, but like, and this is not meant to be a shot at Colandrea. I think Colandrea is going to be, for Nebraska, a net positive, and like I think it's good, but Again, it's like pump the brakes, man. Like, it's day one. I was gonna say Nebraska, they started spring practice a while ago, right?
Nebraska was like February 21st or something.
So okay. So
a lot of this information is coming out from like a scrimmage they had. I forgot to mention that. So they had a scrimmage this weekend, and Holgerson was talking about that.
And that's great. Like, I'm really grateful, but this is where I don't want to say this is where my realism, I think, comes in, where it's like, I don't want to hear all of this positive smoke when you guys have been terrible. Not terrible's too strong. When you guys have
improved from what they were under Frost. Frost was terrible.
Well, yeah, here's her. No, Nebraska has been the definition of mediocre for the past 2 seasons. I don't want to hear glowing praise when the bar of your program currently is mediocrity. Like, I want to hear, he's really improving. He's doing well in this area, but to shower hyperbole, this is not the time for that. And I like, Dana Holgerson needs to chill. That's my reaction to that. Now, if Colandrea like starts 5-0 and like beats Indiana, then it's like, he really is special. Like, he's one of the best quarterbacks I've ever coached. Okay, then you can say it.
They might start 5-0, Zach. I mean, first 5 games here: Ohio, Bowling Green, North Dakota, I think that is, at Michigan State, Maryland.
Okay, if they go 6-0,
so
if they go 6-0, you're allowed. And I understand, Billy. It's spring. You're supposed to be optimistic, but never been around a quarterback like Anthony. Like, really? Is that what we're saying? Like,
listen, Zack is still upset that he picked Nebraska to go to the playoffs last year, and they didn't come through for him, and they ruined.
No, do not reveal that. That was
okay. I picked Clemson to win the national championship last year, dude.
I thought I paid you off to never say that again. No, sorry, what?
Oh man. You know what? And normally I wouldn't bring up stuff like that, but there were so many people that picked LSU, Clemson, Penn State, maybe not even to win it all, but to go deep in the playoffs. I mean, there were so many picks last year. I mean, you can't find anybody. If anything, I was the most accurate person because I picked Ohio State to go 11-1 and said they might even go 12-0 in the Big Ten in a season where everybody was saying they're going to go 9-3 and 10-2. So I just didn't have Clemson right.
Yeah, well, I was going to say most people didn't have Clemson right.
And I think I had Penn State going 10-2. Which
you had Penn State Clemson in the title game, which no, I mean you got that matchup right.
Well, yeah, I did. In the what bowl did they go to?
Pinstripe.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic that Nebraska might be able to make a bowl game like the Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, I think Nebraska will be a bowl game team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is kind of their floor right now. Is bowl game 6-6.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as the defensive line and offensive line are better.
They better go 5-0.
But I mean, you had a terrible defensive line and a terrible offensive line last year, and you still won 7 games.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, it was disappointing. You should have won 8 with that favorable of a schedule, but still, yeah. So Trojan Fight says, what do you guys make of the Nebraska NIL deals reported got denied by the clearinghouse? We kind of mentioned it early on. I saw it. I read the article. I don't feel like I have enough information to really speak on it. I'll probably delve into it a little bit more tomorrow and maybe mention it tomorrow in the video, just because I want to make sure I have all the information correct and make sure I have everything figured out. But sounds like, I mean, from what most people were saying, sounds like this was coming. Somebody was going to sue him at some point, or go after him at some point in court. Is what it is. It sounds like that's what the players are doing. So
yeah, I was gonna say, let me just going back to Colandrea real quick. John, I just to be clear, I am very pro Colandrea. I agree with you. I think he's going to work more within NU's Nebraska's offense. I can't stand coach hyperbole. And it's not just Nebraska, but like Dana Holgerson saying he like I've never had a quarterback like Colandrea. It's like, come on, dude. Like
Zack just is jealous.
No. No, I just don't. So I'll contrast it. I appreciated how Ryan Day talked about Legend Bay as like Xavier Johnson. And like he threw in Curtis Samuel, which that's a high bar, but he didn't say like Terry Glenn or like some other like record-breaking player for Ohio State. I'm like, yeah, like Xavier Johnson is like a good floor that I would want like him to be. Like, I just don't like coaches blowing smoke and getting fan expectations up when there's no proof.
I'm fine with it. Get me excited.
Okay. I'm just grumpy cat.
I'm just messing with you.